Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. This is Amin Elhassan. As you can probably see, we are in Boston, and you can hear too because it's our little leprechaun music. He's on the desk right now.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. But we have a very, very special Trivia Tuesday for you all. Amin, are you ready to meet your challenger?
I didn't even know we were doing this today. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, okay. Well, it is Trivia Tuesday, and it's Tuesday. Please welcome in Mike Golic Jr. You know him, you love him from Gojo and Golic, my pal, when there's a Wilder Wednesday on a Tuesday. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
No, appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited to be here. I suck at trivia, so Amin should feel really good about his chances going into this, and excited to talk some hoops with you guys.
Mike, I don't think you're familiar with the format. The format is you get softball questions like, who won the WNBA championship last night? And I've got to answer questions like, who was the third highest score on the 1999 Houston Comets team?
Not so fast, Amin. I think we've got I have reviewed the questions, and I think that we have something that you might be, both of you, truly challenged by. We'll see who's to say. I might take that back. But Mike, you know ball. You are a ball knower, so we're thrilled to have you. The rules are simple.
He knows ball, too.
Oh, come on. There are 6 different questions for each contestant. And this episode has a theme. It's opening night. Whoever gets the most questions right wins. It's pretty standard for, trivia. So the first question here is for Gojo. Gojo, since Amin and I are in Boston for the Celtics ring ceremony tonight, let's kick it off with some world champion questions. The Celtics start their quest for a repeat championship on Tuesday night. When was the last time a team won 2 titles in a row?
Was that...
You're encouraged to think out loud, too.
Yeah.
Take us into your thought process.
Yeah, my thought process is Golden State did this, right?
Is that your final answer?
That wasn't even the question. What is it? How's that the final answer? The question was, when was the last time? Not who was the last time.
Well, who?
You about to give it to him? See?
Who and when? Who and when?
Who and when? All right. Well, the one that originally came to mind was the 11-12 Miami Heat, because that's the last one I know for sure. But then I feel like Golden State in the middle of that run won back-to-back at some point in there. So I'll say the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors.
Michael, you are correct. It was the Warriors in 2018, and then they lost to the Raptors in 2019. Gojo, let's start with you here on this follow-up. This is not for trivia, because we won't know for a long time. Do you think the Celtics have as good of a chance as people think they do to repeat?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's like the unquantifiable knowledge of having been there and understanding what a run like that takes. I get that so much of Boston's runs last year through the East was against teams that were devoid of their star player for that postseason series, but they dealt with injury of their own right. I think the Kristaps of it all is going to be interesting, how the timing of when he comes back affects this run. But yeah, I do think they have a very good chance to do this, considering how much of this core they were able to retain, how deep this roster is, and the fact that their 2 star players are in the middle of their prime.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say?
I feel like a broken record, but I'm like, are they deep? Every time everyone says how deep their roster is, like their 5 is really good. And then it's like Al Horford, okay. And then it's Peyton Pritchard and Luke Kornet and Sam Hauser and Xavier Tillman, who I like a lot, but they didn't really give a lot of shots to. So I guess I got to see how those guys are going to look this year, especially Porzingis not being able to start the season.
All I got to say is there's no one I would rather take a buzzer-beating 3 than Peyton Pritchard. So, I mean, your first question.
Yeah, that's the official mascot of the Boston Celtics. I feel like that town you need a Peyton Pritchard on the roster at any given time to satisfy the locals.
Gojo, you're right. He is the official mascot. His name is Lucky.
I was going to. All right. Okay, Amin, are you ready?
Yes.
Who's older, Al Horford or Joe Mazzulla, and how old are they?
Horford is older. I know Horford is older.
Okay.
because Missoula, I scouted Missoula. I scouted Horford also, but I scouted Missoula like a lot more. I was more
recent than Horford?
Yes, more recent than Horford. Horford was a junior when he came out because they didn't win his freshman year. Then they went back-to-back in Florida those 2 years, 06, 07.
Was that the chomp? Am I doing it right?
Sure. I mean, you're the college expert. There
is
you
it
go.
the teeth? I don't know. Anyway.
Let's see. So that means he was a junior. That means he was about 21 in 2007 when he came out, which would place him, that is 17 years ago. He's 38. I'm going to say Missoula's 36.
Yep. That was
great.
Very impressive. Yeah, don't let this go to your head, Amin. But
you encouraged us to do our thinking out loud.
I was pumped you got that. I will say, no one can ever prove this. I also had those answers in my head and was sitting here ready to jump in case Amin didn't get those. So, because I actually remember I saw Al Horford. I took an unofficial visit to Florida when I was a recruit. And I remember one of my first look at big time college sports moments was we got to go to a Florida basketball game while we were down there. And it was in 07
cool.
on the back half of that back-to-back run, and seeing the environment in there and seeing what Al Horford is one of the guys out there. I was like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah, this is one of those humbling moments where everyone's like, Al Horford is old as and you're like, okay, perfect. Well, and Joe Mazzulla, but then Joe Mazzulla, everyone's like, Joe Mazzulla is young. So, and I'm the same age as Joe Mazzulla, give or take a year. So I'm like, sure.
Well, see, this is the part where I want to know, Gojo, will your recruiting trip appear on the television program American Horror Story, whatever, Aaron Hernandez?
No, I don't think Dominique Foxworth had to write me in as a character for that, so I didn't fixture as prominently as some others in there, which is a bummer because I run about as well as the actor who plays Aaron Hernandez on that show.
Dude, you could have played yourself. You could have came in as young recruit, just shave and put on a wig, or what was your hair? Yeah,
I actually had hair back then, so I get to throw a wig on, but I get to hang out with that guy that plays Gronk on the show, which is really my only goal. I just want to nestle up to the guy that does the best Gronk impression ever.
Who also plays Travis Kelce in the upcoming holiday film. I know you've already touched on that in Gojo and Golic, Mike. All right, here's your second question, Gojo. DraftKings has put out lines for players to be named first team All-NBA. 5 guys are favorites. The question here says, can you name 3 of the 5? But I'm going to say, can you name all 5?
All right, can I name all 5? I'll start with...
If you get 3, that still counts, but I want you to do 5.
Okay, I'll say for sure Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and go Jalen Brunson.
Oh, you're right. Give him that point because you're right. It was just Jason Tatum instead of Jalen Brunson, which continues Jason Tatum's offseason because the game hasn't started yet, of being disrespected. We love to see it. I mean, I'm going to move on to your second so that we can get all these questions in. Wemby is the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, and if he won, he would be the youngest Defensive Player of the Year in league history. Who currently holds that title? And I have a hint if you need it.
Look, let me ask you this. Is this player a wing or a big?
He is a big.
Okay. So that eliminates, I was originally going to say Ron Artest because I think Ron was fairly young, but then if it's a big, it's not Ron Artest. So I'm going to go with, I'm torn between the obvious, which is Rudy Gobert, versus the not so obvious, the late great Dikembe Mutombo. Those are the 2 options I'm weighing for Defensive Player of the Year, which is a fairly new award, Gojo. It only started in the late 80s, in the mid 80s, excuse me. So we don't have to worry about did Wilt Chamberlain win one when he was 12? Or we don't have to worry about any of those things. I'm gonna go with Rudy Gobert because I think Dikembe was already a 4-year player coming out of college.
So unfortunately, that's not correct. I was surprised.
Dwight Howard! I get that point.
Wow.
No, you don't.
She didn't say anything. She gave me no hints.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
You get the point. All right.
Yes.
How does that work? He just gets the...
I said the name. They didn't say you got to get it right in one try.
You did. I did say I had a hint, and so the hint could be that you were wrong. Oh, now they took it away.
Come on.
I think we'll decide at the end. It'll be fun. I'll be like, does Amin need that extra point or not? Gojo, we're going to stick with awards here for a second. Your third question. Who was the last American player to win MVP? Okay, well, don't do that, Amin.
Don't do that. What are you guys doing? Look,
not everybody is an encyclopedia like you are, okay?
I couldn't tell you the last 4 NFL MVPs, probably. I mean, and they've been like the same 3 players the entire time. I told you I'm bad at trivia. All right, so it's been a steady was it wow, would it have been Russell Westbrook?
That's you're close, but it's James Harden in 2019.
I figured I knew it was one of the old Oklahoma City players because it was either KD, Russ, or James Harden at that point. Because then it's been a steady diet of what Giannis, Jokic, and that whole group, Embiid.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. But you were very close. And Gojo, who is your MVP pick heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season?
If I had to cop out, I mean, I know he's the betting favorite right now, but it seems like Luka Doncic is probably pretty well positioned for this. Like, he's got a lot of the momentum, style of play is going to lend itself well to a bunch of that. The team, I don't know, and Amin you guys will be able to answer this a lot better than me, how much of that'll carry over to next season. The one thing that did kind of make me feel better about the situation there in general was the kind of performance they got out for most of the season from Kyrie Irving as like a wing to take some of the weight off of him. But I think Luka's probably at the point where it's his time.
Amin, would you agree?
I mean, he's certainly a favorite. He should be a betting favorite. I'm leaning towards Giannis because I think Milwaukee's going to have a comeback season and he's going to be just phenomenal. But yeah, look, Luka, the thing that's in Luka's favor is that he's the guy who, every year everyone's like, he's the one who's going to win it. So he's kind of got the momentum of everyone primed to want to pick him. The other name is, of course, your guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Well,
yeah, SGA is another interesting one. I'm glad you brought up Milwaukee, though, I mean, because I feel like people are just kind of ignoring them in a lot of the preseason conversation around the NBA, even though we know historically when you have these big superstar acquisitions, it tends to take a year for things to settle in. And you couple that with hopefully like a healthy and ready to go Giannis, who's still firmly in his prime. And it feels like they should be getting a lot more Eastern Conference buzz than they are, although maybe that's just me parachuting in from football land, not hearing it as much of the daily NBA coverage.
No, it's because of the East Coast biases that exist in some parts of the country, mostly the East Coast.
Are you trying to point at me because you're pointing at Gojo? There you go. All right, we will be right back with more scintillating trivia. Welcome back to Oddball. Charlotte Wilder, Amin Elhassan here in the beautiful DraftKings studios in Boston with our amazing guest, Mike Golic Jr. We're having fun, gentlemen, and I feel very powerful whenever we do this because I can just sort of decide whatever we want to do here. We are going to come back with Amin's third question, which is a two-parter.
What?
Which American-born NBA player has the best MVP odds on DraftKings, and where was this person born?
Ooh. Okay. All right, so cut to the chase on the first one. It is Anthony Edwards. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I know he went to the University of Georgia.
Okay.
And I know he grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. But was he born in Atlanta, Georgia? That's the question. Or was he born, as often a lot of these Atlanta guys are, somewhere else like Alabama or yeah, I'm going to go with Alabama.
Your gut was correct.
It's a trick question?
He was born in Atlanta, Georgia. And it wasn't a trick question. It was just a question.
No, but
wow.
Yeah. Sorry, but
you reacted when I said Alabama, and I was like, oh.
I said it's a good point. My noise was like, it's a good point. You can't be swayed by me.
And it is very true of like guys from Atlanta. And there's also like a bunch of like smaller towns outside of Atlanta. It's like the Chicago idea. No one's ever actually from Chicago. They're from like Naperville or some area around there. So I get it.
Same with Boston. If you say you're from Boston, you're from 20 minutes outside of Boston, unless you're actually from Boston, in which case I'm the idiot. Okay, so Gojo, your fourth question. This is multiple choice. How many draft picks do the Thunder have in the next 2 drafts?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Multiple choice. 12, 10, 8, or 6?
In the next 2 drafts.
Yeah.
We
know they've got a lot.
Yeah.
But what is it?
I'm going to say 10.
Yes. Incredible. Amazing work. They have 7 firsts and 3 seconds, which includes the Clippers' first-round pick this year. Which brings us to the terrifying question, guys. I'm not sure I understand the math on this. I mean, could the Thunder actually get Cooper Flagg?
Yes. Theoretically, if the Clippers are awful, I believe those picks were all unprotected when they did the Paul George deal 5 years ago. So theoretically, if the Clippers just have the worst season ever, or a bad enough season to have good enough odds in the lottery for the ping pong balls to come up saying Clippers number 1, then Oklahoma City would get their pick, and they would be able to take Cooper Flagg or maybe someone else. We don't know. It's a long year.
Yeah. That would be crazy. That would be Gojo. Do you think? I mean, that's a loophole. Do you think there should be a rule that prevents that, or you love this kind of chaos?
No, I love this kind of chaos. I mean, I know they've spent a decent amount of bandwidth trying to figure out the lottery system and prevent teams from tanking and do all that stuff. But I just kind of remain in awe of how Sam Presti and them have been able to do all this in Oklahoma City, which is this place that seems like it's constantly on the verge of falling into oblivion when they lose any of the number of stars they've been able to finagle over the years. But then they just go back to the draft and manage to find this incredible young core of guys to build around. So I don't know. I am continually impressed by this because I know we say you can go be a star in this day and age pretty much anywhere across pro sports, but we know it's markedly more difficult, especially in the free agent side of things, to be in a place like Oklahoma City and attract stars. So it's damn impressive.
Totally. All right, Amin, question 4. With the news that Isaiah Hartenstein will miss 5 to 6 weeks with a small fracture in his left hand, the Thunder have signed Alex Reese to fill the open spot on their roster. Now, Reese went undrafted in 2021 and then stepped away from basketball for a year. The question for you is, what job did he have during that time?
Social media manager.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
No. He was a bartender, which is usually a good guess when someone is in between jobs.
I don't know, because we just got done in football world. We had Jake Bates is his name, the kicker that hit the game-winning field goal for the Lions against the Vikings. And he was a guy that had been a kicker in the UFL, and he was back in Houston selling bricks this last offseason, which how you interpret that is a real
Come on, man. Yeah, this is a family show.
He was
Master Bates was not selling bricks.
Okay.
Off white bricks, white tan bricks.
Yeah, what color were the bricks? We're not ever going to know.
Just hit a lick for about
Gojo,
50 more bricks.
What NBA player do you think would make the best bartender? Both of you. Start with Gojo.
Ooh, the best bartender?
Yeah.
I would say
there's a very easy answer.
Well, I mean,
really?
You go.
No, go ahead, Gojo.
No, tell us who it is, I mean.
It's Victor Wembanyama. I want some guy who could reach the top shelf and reach the other thing. And when he shakes, the amount of force that's generated in the shake is going to be incredible. It's Victor Wembanyama. And he's too young to drink, so.
I think Anthony Edwards, that man can talk. His press conference, no? I'm not saying I want
Anthony Edwards is not going to like know the right amount of ingredient to put in anything. Yeah. He's going to be all show and like all flair, and the bar very little substance, because again, he thinks he's great at everything, but I have a feeling with bartending, he'd be heavy pours. They'd be awful concoctions.
I think this begs the question, what makes a good bartender? And for everybody, it's different. I just want someone who can chat, don't really care what you put in the drink.
What?
Well, I mean,
kids at home, do not listen to her.
Yeah.
I also don't get very many mixed drinks, so I just need someone who can pour me a glass of wine, and I feel like Anthony Edwards would be very good at that.
He wouldn't let it breathe.
No.
Because he'd be too busy talking.
Tell you who I want, Nikola Jokic. I don't want someone chatting me up too much. I want someone who's an efficiency monster, go and get what I need, get it to the right spot in a timely fashion, and I know he's passionate about drinking and horses, so I feel like I'm catching him at least somewhere in the Venn diagram of things he enjoys.
All right, that's fair. Okay, Amin, Gojo, your fifth question is, which NBA team has gone the longest without making the playoffs?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Who's been bad a lot recently?
If you need a hint, just look at your screen.
Look at my screen.
Oh, are you sending him answers? Is that what's happening? Look at your screen?
No.
Someone's sending him answers.
Gosh.
I'm not sending anything.
No.
Is someone sending?
No, nobody is. Nobody is sending Mike anything.
Nobody's sending me anything, but what clue would be on my screen right now? Is it the colors of the Gojo and Golic logo? Who could this be? Is it the Houston Rockets?
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. The answer is the Charlotte Hornets.
Where was the clue on my screen?
Me.
Oh, wow.
Charlotte.
Jesus Christ.
The Charlotte Hornets. They have not gone to the playoffs in 8 years, which I'm going to be honest, I thought it was longer than that. But yeah, sorry about all of that.
Yeah, the Rockets was an also objectively bad guess too, considering they just had the Harden years not too long ago. So that shouldn't have been that kind of drought there. I told you, I'm bad at trivia. I cramp up under pressure with this stuff.
So do I. I'm horrible at it. You're doing amazing. You're still winning. And time is a social construct. So, Amin.
I wish he never gave hints. Like, I think I'd do better without Charlotte's hints, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of people would. Amin, your fifth question is, which team has the biggest increase in their win total from last season? Is the projection on DraftKings?
You're asking me if I did my homework looking at DraftKings Sportsbook app, which you should download today and use promo code Oddball.
For Gojo.
First time users get 5.
Wow, look, you got one right. Just saying that.
Okay, there you go. To increase.
Yeah. Which team has the biggest increase according to DraftKings Sportsbook?
You know what? I'm guessing, because a lot of this is also based on what people are betting. I'm guessing it's going to be San Antonio. San Antonio.
No, it's actually the Rockets or the. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to guess the Magic. Is it the Magic?
No, it's the Thunder. Those are both.
The Thunder are going to increase?
What?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. Don't yell at me. I'm not Las Vegas.
In the West last year. They're going to go up more?
Do I look like Las Vegas? I'm not. We don't have enough time for more questions, so we're going to just leave this as a tie, you guys.
Well, we got a minute.
Yeah, I know. So I'm wrapping it up. Okay. I'm going to thank Gojo because you've been such an amazing competitor. And what is your prediction for the game tonight? Celtics, Knicks, who takes it?
I say the Knicks take it, and Karl Anthony Towns has a big game, and we begin a year-long roller coaster ride of a media cycle with him and that team.
Wow. Amin, do you agree with that?
Dude, I actually couldn't script it any better, yes. The Celtics will come out on fire. Then the Knicks slowly chip away. Then the second half, the Celtics have no energy. Karl-Anthony Towns has a great game, and everyone's going to be like, oh, what a great deal that was, until the next game where he has a terrible game. And everyone's like, he's soft. Why do we hate him?
And then at the presser after the game, Joe Mazzulla is going to say that he's glad the Celtics lost because they actually need this and they need the chip on their shoulder, and they're not great yet and they will never be great, even though they're the defending champions with most of the
same roster.
Entirely same roster. Mike, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. We're going to make you come back on Oddball more. So that's a warning.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. We will catch you tomorrow.
Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Greatest ever.